Hey guys, welcome to Fantasy Tipped. This is your co-host Max, joining you for the first time of the 2023-2024 season. It's great to be back on board with all of you, and today I want to talk about some possible breakout candidates for the upcoming season. Without further ado, I'll jump right into it. But before, I want to let you guys know, most of these guys will either go undrafted or they won't be of any use for the people who are in shallow leagues or even regular leagues. Even if they go undrafted, it's a good heads up on who you could steal in the first few weeks of the season on the waiver wire if one or some of these guys have early success. We'll start with the forwards. The first one up is Connor Brown. I am super interested in Connor Brown this year. The reason is, and many people don't know this, is that him and Connor McDavid are really close. They were line mates in junior with the Erie Otters, and during Connor Brown's last junior year, he compiled 128 points. That's 29 more than a 16-year-old Connor McDavid. Last year, he played 4 games before missing the rest of the season due to injury. He went pointless. Prior to that, he had seasons of 43, 35, and 39 points with the Ottawa Senators. It's worth noting that he hasn't played a full season since the 2018-2019 campaign. A season without injury and a reunion with his good old mate Connor McDavid might see him pass the 65-point mark. I know it's a big call, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a breakout season from Connor Brown at 29 years old. Up next, we have Morgan Frost. Now, this guy was either red hot or ice cold last season. The Flyers are still years away from Stanley Cup contention, but they already have some pretty good offensive pieces. This year might be the year where Frost cements himself as a top-line center in the NHL. Last year, he got 46 points in 81 games, and I could see him get 2 points every 3 games this season, which would mean a 54-plus point season and a better differential than last year. Anton Lundell, 21 years old, 30 goals, 47 assists in 138 games. On top of that, he excels defensively early on in his career. He already has a plus 34 differential. It's quite amazing at 21 years of age. Fresh from a Stanley Cup final appearance, Lundell is bound to have a better offensive year than last year. Even if he plays a middle six role, the Panthers are so stacked on the wings that he won't have a choice to play with quality players. Add the fact that if Barkov or Bennett get injured, his stock will rise up quickly. Look for him to get more power play time this season. Another 21-year-old who averages over a point every 2 games is Cole Perfetti. With Dubois and Blake Wheeler out of the lineup, the door is wide open for Perfetti to produce this year. He's going to have a much bigger role in Winnipeg, and to my surprise, Perfetti was a pretty plus 10 last year, where he compiled 8 goals, 22 assists in 51 games. Expect those numbers to go up this year. We also have Alexis Lafreniere. Alexis. A lot of people have already given up on him. People are calling him a bust, but he already has 91 points at 21 years old in the NHL. It's kind of crazy that people throw the towel so fast on these kids, especially if you notice that he missed a large chunk of the end of his junior career due to COVID. In his first 2 seasons, he got 21 and 31 points. In comparison, it's the same amount of points Jack Hughes had in his first 2 seasons. Jack Hughes got 99 points in his 4th season. Lafreniere is about to embark in his 4th season. Of course, he is not at the Jack Hughes level, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him eclipse the 50-point mark for the first time of his career, even if he plays a middle 6 role in New York. You heard it here first. I believe the Ottawa Senators are going to the Stanley Cup playoffs this season. I love what they did in the offseason with the additions of Dominik Kubalik, Zach McEwen, and Vladimir Tarasenko. Shane Pinto will center the 3rd line to begin the season, but he will get power play time. This guy has an elite release already at such a young age. And even if he plays on the 3rd line, the Ottawa Senators have a very good offensive group. Add in the fact that injury-prone Josh Norris and even young Tim Stützle, if one of them gets injured, this could open the door to Shane Pinto to play with guys like Claude Giroux, Drake Batterson, Brady Tkachuk, and aforementioned Vladimir Tarasenko. Alexander Barabanov is a different kind of player than most of the guys we've talked about so far. He spent 7 years in Russia. He was undrafted before joining the Toronto Maple Leafs in a bottom 6 role, not playing much on a stacked Leafs team. The move to San Jose helped him get top 6 minutes and top power play time. Last year, he got 15 goals, 32 assists, 47 points with 13 power play points. The Sharks will not be very good this year, but someone has to play top line minutes and somebody has to put the puck in every now and then. And I believe Alex Barabanov will get even better numbers than he did last year. I think it's absolutely outrageous that he's not part of the top 250 player rankings by NHL.com. I predict we might see a 55-plus point season if Barabanov remains healthy. Another unranked player is Phillip Tomasino. Matt Duchene was bought out. Ryan Johansson was traded to Colorado. It's a new day in Nashville. They will rely heavily on the young guns, including Thomas Novak, Juuso Valimaki, and Luke Evangelista. Tomasino is my pick because he's the fastest out of the bunch and his hands can follow. Even if he starts off bottom 6, look out for him to steal top 6 minutes from Guryanov and Gustav Nyquist. I expect around 15 goals and 45 to 50 points at least if he stays healthy. My last 2 forwards are more for deeper leagues, but this guy could explode out of nowhere. It's a tough call with a career high of 25 points, but Phillip Kurashev was playing with subpar players on a subpar Blackhawks team last year. This year, he might have the chance to play with guys like Taylor Hall, Connor Bedard, Nick Foligno, and Andreas Athanasiou, which are all upgrades from what he was dealing with last year. Low risk, high reward, whether it's in the last round of your fantasy draft or the waiver wire in the first couple of weeks, this is a guy that could really pop out of nowhere. And finally, Vasili Podkolzin. After getting 14 goals, 12 assists in his rookie season, Podkolzin hit the sophomore slump. He hit a weasel 4 goals, 3 assists in 39 games with a couple trips to the AHL. But this is a guy who's been playing professionally against men since he was 16 years old. I believe he is a power forward in the making, and I wouldn't be surprised to see his peripherals rise up. This guy plays with a lot of grit, and we could be looking at his 15 to 20 goal season. It's worth noting that he will start in the bottom 6 in Vancouver, unless he does something amazing during the preseason. But it's hard to predict in August because we haven't seen any training camps, we haven't seen any preseason, but this is definitely a guy I'm keeping my eyes on. Even if nobody drafts him in my leagues, I will check out what he does early on in the season because just like Kurashev, this is a guy that could come out of nowhere and hit us with a 40, 50 point season. There's a reason why he was drafted 10th overall. And now let's talk about some defensemen. I feel like there's more value here on my defenseman list than on my forward list. We'll start with the easiest breakout candidate of the entire video, Evan Bouchard. Fresh off an amazing playoff run where he compiled 4 goals, 13 assists, 17 points in 12 games, Evan Bouchard was off to a very disappointing start last season, but as soon as he took over Tyson Barrie's PP1 spot, the sky was the limit. He is a certified PP1 quarterback, and with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, his point production will absolutely blow up this season. In the last 19 games of the regular season last year, he was at a point per game pace. Look out for a nasty season where he could get over 65 points. In the last 2 years, he was a plus 16, so you don't have to worry about any defensive liabilities. I think Evan Bouchard will be a big boom this season. Only 3 defensemen in the National Hockey League had over 40 points, 150 hits, and 100 blocks. Those defensemen were Moritz Seider, Chris Letang, and the guy I want to talk to you guys about, K'Andre Miller. He totaled 9 goals, 34 assists, 43 points in 79 games last year, even with little power play time behind Adam Fox. It's even more impressive when you notice that he started the season with 4 points in his first 18 games, which means he finished with 39 points in his last 61 games. If he keeps it up, we might be looking at a 50-plus point season from Miller, with just as many peripherals. Some will say he already broke out last year, but I think he has even more to offer, and I'm willing to gamble on K'Andre Miller as my 3rd or 4th defenseman in fantasy this season. Up next, we have Jake Sanderson. Now, I want to be loud and clear, I don't normally go for rookie players or players who are in their second professional seasons because I do believe in sophomore slumps, but this kid has too much game. In his rookie season, he got 4 goals, 28 assists, 32 points in 77 games, and was only a -6 on a non-playoff Ottawa Senators team. Thread carefully here because he is behind Thomas Chabot and Jacob Chychrun in the depth chart. Many people expect a big boom and for his progression to keep ascending. I think his value depends on where you get him in the draft. I believe if you get him in the later rounds, maybe the last 2 rounds, or even on the waiver wire early on, it is good value. But if you get him in the mid rounds, you may be left highly disappointed. Like I said, the kid's got game, and I would be happy to have him on my team with a late round pickup. Up next is Sean Durzi, and as of right now, Daily Faceoff and most of the hockey websites don't even have Durzi on any of the Coyotes' power play. I think that is subject to change once the season actually begins. Yes, he still has defensive liabilities, but in his young career, he already has 65 points in 136 games. 2 years ago, he went over a point per game in the AHL at 22 years old. I think people are sleeping on Durzi's offensive abilities, and I really believe that Sean Durzi may be one of the biggest steals this year. Keep a close eye on him during preseason, and take note of the Arizona Coyotes defensive corps, because we still don't know who will do what. Will it be JJ Moser? Will it be Valimaki? Will it be Sean Durzi? Only time will tell. It's still too early, but keep an eye out for Sean Durzi. It's no secret that Rasmus Sandin has rejuvenated his career following the trade to Washington. In his 19 games with the Capitals, he amassed 15 points, compared to 20 in 52 with the Maple Leafs. Yes, he will be behind John Carlson, but he will be the quarterback for the PP2, and that PP2 in Washington may contain Yevgeny Kuznetsov, Max Pacioretty, TJ Oshie, Dylan Strome, or Anthony Manta's big body in front of the net. All great options for a PP2 quarterback. Juuso Valimaki got a fresh start, arriving in Arizona, and took his chances. 4 goals, 30 assists, 34 points in his first full season. He should recuperate his PP1 spot early on in the season and get loads of playing time. Like I said, keep a close eye on the Coyotes during the preseason to know who will be the PP1 and who will be the PP2 quarterback. There's lots of competition, but Valimaki is set to lead the way. Up next, we have Kaiden Guhle, who unfortunately missed half of his rookie season, and he was a horrible -19 in 44 games. He still compiled 18 points without much power play time, and the Montreal Canadiens will probably not be much of a possession team this year, which means I could see his peripherals drastically go up in his sophomore season. This is where I'm gambling with Kaiden Guhle. If he remains healthy, I could see a 35-point season with a great return on hits and blocks. I know I said I normally stay clear of rookie players, but we are talking about future number 1 defensemen here. Only problem is both of them are behind established number 1 elite defensemen. We're talking about Drew Doughty and Dougie Hamilton. Brent Clarke was monumental for Team Canada during the World Juniors, where he went over a point per game. I believe that Brent Clarke may be the player with the highest ceiling coming from the 2021 draft. As for Luke Hughes, he was the captain of the United States during those World Juniors, and he got 4 goals, 1 assist in 7 games as a defenseman. Luke Hughes got a taste of the NHL last year, where he played his first 2 games and got his first goal and first assist. Not bad for a defenseman. And that's it for today, guys. If you made it this far, I thank you very much. I hope this helps you in your draft. Before I go, I want to mention that there's a lot of guys I didn't talk about. For example, Cole Caulfield, Lucas Raymond, who, in my opinion, are absolute locks to do well this year. In my opinion, these guys will both break 60 plus points, but Raymond already got 57 points in his rookie season, and Cole Caulfield is an absolute unit. Therefore, they're not breaking out. They're already in superstar status, in my opinion. Also, another guy I didn't include is Bowen Byram. A lot of people are putting him as a breakout candidate. I, for myself, will absolutely not be drafting him this year. I don't want to draft a guy who gets injured more often than he changes underwears. I wish him the best. He is super talented, a phenomenal hockey player, but I really don't trust him. And I'm not going to advise you guys to draft a player who I wouldn't myself. Other options I could have talked about, but I'm running out of time, include Morgan Geekie on the Bruins, who could potentially break the top 6, Oliver Wahlstrom on the Islanders, there's Jacob Pelletier on the Flames, Quinton Byfield on the Kings, Jack Quinn on the Buffalo Sabres. This is strictly because it's his second season, and I do believe in sophomore slumps. Therefore, I'm not risking it with him this season. We'll see for next year. Another interesting option is Jamie Drysdale. I absolutely love Drysdale ever since he got drafted. The thing is, the Anaheim Ducks are just not good enough. And I feel like Drysdale might have a good season, but will probably finish -25, -30. So I will not be drafting Jamie Drysdale. So on that note, I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you're enjoying the summer. I hope you enjoy the sun. I hope you drink a lot of water. And we'll catch each other soon for more preseason and season content. Please click the like button, subscribe if you like the content, and we'll catch each other soon. Hockey season is coming faster than you'll expect it. See you guys soon.